repeating that
I need to find out how to get that, and then I'll put it up.
So, I first off want to thank Linda for emceeing. Linda, who was smart enough to give up the reins of the Bernal Heights Democrat.
Hi, this is Denise Dory, and this is the Liberal Buzz Show. And my guest today is Tom Gallagher. He's done so many things that it would take 20 minutes to tell you. So, he's about the most progressive candidate you can imagine having, you know. Oh. And I met him at the Progressive Democrats meeting back in, I don't know, the single digits of the 2000s. And that's where I know him from. I guess it's called the San Francisco Progressive Democrats now, isn't it, of America?
Yeah.
SFPDA. Yeah, and it's a great club, you know. You can tell folks how to come and join and sign up and maybe even help with your campaign. So without any further ado from me, I'd like to introduce Tom Gallagher, my guest that I'm so lucky to have here.
Thank you.
And now you're running against Nancy Pelosi.
I am.
And she's announced her retirement in 2022, but still you're running in 2020. Right. So she does spend a lot on the military lately, right?
Right.
And she, this is what you have on this is old, but I'm sure your positions haven't changed, so please correct me at any time. We're not really spending money on homeless like we are on the military, and meanwhile we've got Trump reading us the riot act about homeless on the street, and it'd be good if we'd actually do something so they'd stop making us look like do-nothing Democrats, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. So, can you elaborate on any of that?
Well, let me start out with this. If you were to imagine a brand new candidate for Congress in San Francisco in this district appearing, who said that she wasn't a big fan of Medicare for all and referred to the Green New Deal as the Green Dream or whatever they call it, and voted to increase the military budget, I think a lot of people would say to that candidate, you might want to think about running in a different district because that's not where San Francisco is at. But of course, that candidate has represented this district for the last 32 years. And that is the contradiction I'm trying to highlight in this campaign. When I go to people's doors and speak to them, I point out that I have the opposite position on all of those things, as most of them do, I think. I don't interrogate them, of course, but a lot of them would be planning to vote for Pelosi because she's powerful, influential, the main voice against Trump, and I've tried to confront them with the fact that she does not represent their views.
One thing I admire her for is the way she handles Republicans, kind of like a kindergarten class. You know, that's about the main thing that's impressed me lately, because somebody has to stand up to them, right? And now more than ever, and we'd like to see you be the leader of the House, and you know it's going to take. You have to. Well, let's see. One thing about Nancy Pelosi is she was good with the LGBT community. Mm-hmm. And she has a lot of support there. Mm-hmm. She has support from a lot of the more liberal ends of but then again, she's like, we go back to the military, you know, and that's not progressive though. And we're spending all this money on, fighter jets and whatever, and going to these countries we don't need to be in. Can you tell us where we are now?
Oh, gosh. Actually, it's a secret. And it really is. We have somewhere in the vicinity of the high 700s, lower 800s military bases, as best we can tell, but that's not a public figure. Foreign military bases, excuse me, let me make that clear. We bomb 7 countries annually. We have done it every year for the past, I don't know how many years. We are in the 19th year of our war in Afghanistan. And we act as if this is normal. And I think Pelosi's view is that she's supportive of the budget that enables all of this, because if she weren't, and if the Democrats weren't, they feared they would be considered unpatriotic by the Republicans, and they would suffer from it. Now, of course, the world and ultimately us suffer for this. We just bombed another bunch of civilians in Afghanistan a couple of days ago, and the military say, "Oh, we'll look into it. We heard reports, etc." It goes on regularly. It goes on regularly. We know it's going to go on. You don't think we made a whole bunch more enemies doing that? But this is not reality on Capitol Hill.
No, it isn't. They're enabling it, and they take money from the defense, and that's the biggest industry. And maybe they take money from the defense industry. So if you own stocks in defense, please divest from the defense industry, because
the structure is built very carefully. They're designed to be military-related production or jobs in every congressional district in the country, so that every single representative in Congress has a stake in it. And that's unfortunately we don't have people with an equal stake with a healthcare system that will cover everybody at this point.
Do you have a website?
Yeah.
So what's your website? Let's go to that right now.
TomGallagherCongress2020.com.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so and this is District 12.
This is District 12. This is District 12 indeed. And while you're looking there, something that we ought to be able to cover the whole country with, the way that the defense industry is now covered, is the project of the Green New Deal. Because every place in this country faces the same crisis in the environment, and the Green New Deal is designed to be a vast employment program.
Oh yes, it could. There's so many ways. There's a lot of creativity to be developed. There's a lot of creativity. The Green New Deal. There's so many ways to implement it. Batteries, power. We're using battery power, solar roof. I used to install solar panels. So
we face a challenge the likes of which the world has never faced. I mean, the last comparable type of mobilization in this country, unfortunately, comparable to what we need, to what the times demand, unfortunately was that for World War II. But there's the realization, of course, that this globe is not endless. There's still this idea of continual expansion. The capitalist system will correct everything and will build more and more and more. But people realize now, the younger you are, the more likely you realize this, because you were trained. As a kid, you got to recycle, et cetera, et cetera. And this accounts for the largest part, I think, of the surprising Bernie Sanders youth vote last time and his support this time. The younger you are, the more you realize the crisis is real, which is, I think, for older voters still is like science fiction.
I guess we're stuck in dogma, aren't we? Yeah, old folks I'm 64, so I understand that concept well.
Yeah, but Bernie Sanders does not have his greatest support among his peers. Ironically, they're the least likely to vote for him.
I got his button on. I mean, this is called Liberal Buzz, and it's not a bipartisan show. But so you support the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, and that's covering everyone for life, to provide a full range of medical services, eliminate out-of-pocket charges to patients, eliminate administrative waste and confusion, and save billions to individuals, businesses, and the government. So that's pretty unique. I mean, that could work. I'm on Medicare, and I wouldn't be without it, so I can't imagine what it's like not to have it. So I don't have the authority to talk about what it's like not to have Medicare.
But even what you have could use improvement. The supplemental plans shouldn't be necessary, and part of Sanders and other bills in Congress would eliminate that. People have all heard the stories of somebody an accident happens to them when they're in France and it's fairly serious, and they get out of the hospital and they're thinking like an American, what is this going to cost me? And they get a bill for, the equivalent of $15 or something like that. This can be done. We are in the midst of talking about going back to the moon again and trying to figure out could you put human life on Mars? At the same time that the most powerful nation in the world cannot manage to put together a healthcare system that many smaller nations have done like that.
Yes, that's true. For $80,000 for a hip replacement, you can go to Spain. In America, you could go to Spain and get one, and then go out and spend a while on the Spanish Riviera, and then go break your hip again and get it replaced again and come back.
We wouldn't advise that, of course, but it's more or less true.
So yeah, I know about that. I've seen people get bankrupted by the healthcare community. But
Greatest single source of bankruptcy, I believe.
Yeah, that's the biggest side effect of your medications or bankruptcy. That's true. In fact, some of them cost. I was taking one for a couple months. It was $1,500 for a bottle. Yeah, it worked, but that's a lot of money.
It's funny. They now, can make computer printers that are so cheap they're almost throwaway, and they're marvelous in terms of what these $50 machines can do, really.
Yeah.
But somehow a drug costs $1,500. Doesn't make sense.
Not in other countries either. My dad was getting his eye medicine from Canada, all the while supporting Trump. Anyway, I shouldn't say that. But I wouldn't complain if I was a Republican about high prices. But an end to discrimination. And let's see, you've got we've got plenty of time. So these are your positions.
Bring up another related issue.
Let's see, I've got you down. What about the Green New? You talked about the Green New Deal. Mm-hmm. How about Assembly Bill 1784?
Tell me. That's a state bill, so I'm not.
Okay, and okay. Let's see.
So can I bring up a related
I
foreign
wish you
policy?
would.
Okay. One of the things that I talk about actually in my elevator pitch, which has never been given in an elevator, but has been given at lots of front porches, is that I support a Marshall Plan for Central America. And a lot of times that just blows by people, and sometimes people go, huh? What's that? And what that is about, the real Marshall Plan, of course, was a foreign aid plan that the U.S. government put together following World War II to deal with the devastation caused in Europe. And it happened because forces in American society that generally might hate foreign aid supported it. And I think we have a comparable situation at this time. Right now, in the border crisis that we have, the asylum seekers, they're coming from three countries overwhelmingly: El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. Yes. Not Mexico, not Nicaragua, but those three countries. So we should ask ourselves, is there something that could be done that would make those people not want to risk their lives, their life savings, their future earnings in the U.S. to try and get up here? Is there something that could make life more livable there? And those countries have among the highest rates of violence in the world, the three of them. They also have a history of unfortunate, to be charitable, American intervention in military intervention on generally the wrong side of the rich-poor divide in those countries. There are people who would say, on the one hand, that we in a sense owe it to those people to do something for them. There are other people who would simply say, I never want to see another person trying to sneak across the border. Let's let them stay home. Two groups that are ideologically at odds, really, that both might have an interest in improving the quality of life in Central America. On top of that, and this is the decisive part, you have business interests and conservative government interests who are quite worried about China's growing influence worldwide. The so-called Silk Road program. They've been out there all over the globe trying to build goodwill in a building project, financing construction of dams and bridges and things like that. And their program has its own problems and is controversial in its own way. But there are business interests in this country very worried about China taking over markets from them. El Salvador, the government of El Salvador, recently signed on for the Silk Road program with China. So we have a group of people, the business community, that generally hates foreign giveaway programs, that does have an interest in somehow tying the U.S. to these countries. Now, all of these programs, both what China does and what we would do, are not without their problems. But if we could compete in the world with what we could construct rather than what we could destroy, that would be a major step forward. And my picture that I'm trying to paint here is that you have a situation where you might find surprisingly bipartisan and left-right support for doing something major in Central America. This is something I've been trying to add to this campaign. I'm not alone. Julian Castro, in one of the presidential debates, called for this, and it's come up now and then. But I've decided to actually take it door to door.
Bravo, bravo. I think it's way overdue. Way overdue. There shouldn't. No, why would anybody want to come over the border when they live in paradise?
Right, right. No, and you see those heart-rending pictures, you know, the drowning child and so forth. And who wants to do that down there? They do it because they find life untenable there.
And it's a lot to do with the way our government treats their political situations and supports leaders that aren't really.
Oh, we run the wrong side of the war in Guatemala. We had major intervention in El Salvador. We supported the most recent overthrow of the Honduras government. Wrong.
Yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg as you go south too. So we've got about 4 more minutes. Now, with the Mideast, you were talking about Afghanistan and Russia. Now, Russia, they're in Afghanistan as well, are they?
Not to my knowledge. They have been. They have a nasty history of their own there, and it had dire consequences for the Soviet Union, actually, an unwanted war that they were in for a long time. Not as long as our 19 years.
That's a lot. That's a money pit there.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're number one.
Some years ago, it was the cost of the annual cost of a soldier in Afghanistan, an American soldier, was $1 million a piece. Now, it's funny. I hadn't even thought of that number for a while because this is so far out of the news.
That's mind-boggling.
It does not come up in debates, but that's what it cost.
Mind-boggling. And Afghanistan's actually kind of on the border of South Asia, and it's in strategic area. So there's
the graveyard of empires, they used to call it.
Is it? Okay. I can't. Oy. And so we've also got things going on in Korea. In North Korea, we're trying to protect Korea from North Korea, and Trump's like making friends with these despots.
But I will say this: Trump can't be wrong on everything because he changes position so often that one of them and the other has to be right. But talking with the leader of North Korea is the least of his sins. Peace is made between enemies, and we always want to forget that. If he's talking to him, we might think of it as a couple of buffoons off there, but whatever. That is much better than sending troops, sending in the bombers. I do not fault him for that at all.
But, Obama deported more immigrants than Trump has. Trump's deported 800,000, whereas Obama deported 1.2 million. Or those are the numbers, I believe.
Yeah, no, not fashionable to mention that, but the Obama administration should be held to the same standards as the Trump administration. If we didn't like it for one, we shouldn't like it for the other.
I still like Obama, by the way, just for the record.
Just for the record.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And I'll say he was certainly a damn sight better than Donald Trump.
On most things, he was trying to give into the Republicans too much in the beginning. He was trying to be more bipartisan, and it didn't
Oh,
serve him
yeah,
well.
you know.
He lost a lot of
compromise is what happens after you fight,
He
not
lost the
before you
House.
start.
That lost the House, I believe, in 2010 was it? Midterm elections.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a tough pill to swallow as well. But now we've got Bernie. Now talk about Bernie. You support Bernie. You're
Absolutely.
a Bernie.
I
You're a
was
Bernie
delegate
Democrat.
I was
right?
a delegate in 2016 to the National Convention. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So that's one of your accomplishments, and you've got quite enough. Bernie Sanders delegate, president of Bernal Heights Democratic Club, chair of San Francisco
I'll tell
Progressive
you-
Democrats.
I'll tell you a badge of honor that I think I wear. I believe I'm the only person who was ever a delegate both for Bernie Sanders and George McGovern. I was a delegate for George McGovern in 1984 when few people realized he ran. He only got 23 delegates. He dropped out after Massachusetts, where he got 21 of his delegates, and I became one of them. And so to have represented them compared to everyone else, there's no two I would prefer to have been a delegate for.
That's cool. That was in '72, McGovern.
Well, the year I'm talking about was 84. Again, people don't realize he ran in 84.
Did he?
Yeah, he dropped out after the Massachusetts primary, which is when my delegate slot, went to him. And so
interesting.
he never got, by the time the race came to California, he wasn't in it anymore.
Oh. Yeah, I wanted to vote for him so very much, but I was only 17.
Oh, the first time, yeah.
The first time, yeah. So I don't remember him. I must have missed that when I didn't watch the news that day, I suppose. Now, we've got about a little less than a minute. So have you any closing comments for our viewers?
Well, what my goal is to be the first Democrat to run in a final election against Nancy Pelosi. We have an open primary. We've had it for some years. You can have two members of the same party. San Francisco would seem logical. The Republicans should not be able to take second place. It is my goal to do it, to represent the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party, essentially, against the corporate establishment wing that Pelosi is part of and that has reigned over the party for some time. So that's why I march around to all these things. I got the Young Democrats later tonight. That's the goal.
So go to Tom Gallagher's website. It's TomGallagherCongress2020.com. And you can see how you can help him win the race against Nancy Pelosi. We think we can do this. She's going to retire in 2022, and I don't know if we want to wait till then. Do you? So I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.